Looks like we have our storage here. Magically arriving in here from Flotsam, so that's great. We have quite many things. I will leave my crafting components here for now. I will take a look at them later, and then I will level up, and then I think I need a break, and I need to think about a bit what the heck just happened when we got here by looking at the journal. Some potions while at it. I haven't really used my bombs, haven't found a place to use them. Let's make some swallow while at it. Again, I'm running low on this Aedirn ingredient. Well, let's make enough swallows for now. I think actually that's all I'm going to do now. So we will level up. I'm not sure when these level ups happened, were they during those scenes, but I went 4 levels up during this since I last meditated. And on the hard difficulty I can only level up during meditating. I can't level up at any time. Okay, so I have 4 levels up. Sign intensity. I could have a better axis sign. I haven't really figured out how to use that very well. There's improved Gwen. Burdon. 2 traps at once, that's really good crowd control. Sign damage. Art sign for entire areas. That might be very useful. 6 meters range. Yeah, I think I will like that. I like the art sign. Let's look at so far I really haven't needed the arrow direction, so I won't do that. Have I found better? No crater. No crater mutagens. I have those vitality ones in the storage, but that's about it. Unlocks the damage to deal. Abilities to deal damage to multiple opponents. I'm thinking I will go do I need this schemer? Vigor regeneration. I think so. So let's go from here. Take the damage reduction. Then to hardy. Wait a minute, do I want to do that? Yeah, I want that because I want to get into these ones. Chance of instant kill and mainly these adrenaline finishers. But before that, let's take a look at the magic side. I'm surprised there is no vigor regeneration on on this side. There's the sign intensity. Yeah, I think I'm happy with upgraded art and upgraded Gwen for now. I will look into this side when I get some abilities from here, because I'll be mostly using the sword anyway. So let's jump there. That's it, level 16. Let's look at the attributes. Vitality 265, armor 23. No other abilities than that, and my persuasion level is 3. I've been using that quite a bit. I wonder how can I increase these. Cover is very useful. Sign damage maybe as well. Maybe I just need to use more spells. Okay, then finally, after leveling up and brewing some potions, I will look at the journal. So let's take a look at that. We are in chapter 2. Prelude to War, Aedirn. I read the early part before. This story begins with both heading to parley with Guideveni ruler. That's what Stennis and Saskia did. Aedirn was weak and Guideven was strong. After Devoin's death, nobility couldn't have cared less, as peasant riots rent the kingdom apart from within. The notables wanted only to lick Helselt's boot and strike deal, even if that meant sacrificing Upper Aedirn. But Saskia, the famed dragon slayer standing at the head of the peasants' army, was a proud and hot-tempered woman. At the time when few knights were found among the ranks of the defenders, she was the one to take up negotiations with Helselt, and she was the one to break them off. Spurred by their pride and ambition, the Aedirnian representation provoked a fight and clashed swords with the Guideveni legation. Analysts delight in recounting the episode, for it was the first in the history when the king of one land, the heir to the throne of another, and a pretender to that same throne, assisted by representatives of the most eminent families of two nations, pounded each other so eagerly in the middle of howling backwoods. A priest sought to stop the duel, but brutally handled by Helselt, he fell. As the holy man's blood sank into the ground, it awoke a terror lurking beneath. A ghastly mist arose above the area. Blood called for blood. Hungry dead rose from the ground. Yeah, that much I figured out when King Helselt killed the priest on a Melitele shrine. Oh, I'm not sure if it was Melitele's shrine, but anyway. It was under these circumstances that Geralt arrived on the scene, hardly expecting to encounter a strange spectral mist so near the destination of his long journey. The Witcher appeared on the cursed battlefield at just the right instant, and as it turned out, he was the right man in the right place. Saskia, Iorveth and our hero needed all their strength to fend off the attacking wraiths. The situation looked exceptionally grim. Luckily, Philippa Eilhart also had Saskia's well-being in mind. The sorceress, having transformed into an owl, appeared on the battlefield to show the party a safe path through the dangerous vapor. Geralt decided to follow her. I don't think there was much choice there. With a little perturbation, the group left the mist, and Geralt could see Philippa Eilhart in human form. The company left for Vergen. The Assassins of Kings, Chapter 2. Geralt knew that Letho had teleported somewhere into the area of Vergen, and Triss Merigold arrived in the town's vicinity along him. The Witcher began looking for the Kingslayer's trails. then side quest as when I have the time. Geralt did not have much free time, but he liked to have his fun. After besting Zoltan Chivay at arm wrestling, the dwarf told him of the exploits of his old crew. Stories about dwarven grit convinced Witcher to take on Yarpen Zigrin and Sheldon Skaggs. Maybe I will look into that when I do have the time. The War Council. After reaching Vergen, Saskia and Stennis left Geralt to his own devices. The elder, Cecil Burdon, greeted the Witcher. It turned out that because of the Guidebany threat, the gates will be closed. A debate was to be held where all attendees would discuss how to end that threat. The Witcher was invited too, but at the moment he could rest in a room the local inn provided for him. Following Burdon's nephew to the inn, our hero thought deeply about Upper Aedirn's situation. In spite of its dwarven standards, Geralt's room at the Cauldron proved quite cozy. The Witcher settled in and once ready ventures out to attend the War Council. Yes indeed, that's what I plan to do when I get there. Chapter 1 finished. Returning memories and Assassins of Kings being the quests we have carried on from the beginning. Oh, I don't like this that the topmost one is considered red when I'm just scrolling down. Now I lost all those question marks in these ones, even that I didn't really read them. Mystic River. Wait a minute, wasn't there another shipwreck up the river? Was it still in vicinity of Flotsam? Because this is now checked. Oh wow, well I guess I missed that one. I have no idea where it could have been. Maybe I should have traveled further south or something. Oh well. The Assassins of Kings. Do I have the same description here? No. Chapter 1. Assassins of Kings. I've read most of these. When we fought Eorwet and then the Kingslayer defeated and humiliated Geralt, and when he was done he left for town. Yet the Witcher would not give up so easily. He knew Leto wanted to get Triss, so he ran to save the imperated sorceress. Though Demavent was already dead, Leto still had business in Aedirn. He had to get there fast, so he kidnapped Triss Merigold and forced her to open a magical portal to the town of Vergen on Aedirnian border. Geralt was too late and could not prevent the sorcerer's abduction, but he began pursuit as soon as he was done with Flotsam. And that's what I did. Let's look at the locations here in Chapter 2, Battlefield, which we just walked through. The sight was not much to behold, even on a sunny day, yet it was here that several years earlier a bloody battle had ended in magical cataclysm. Rocky gullies opened onto a plain scarred with furrows, and craters dug by trebuchet missiles and magical explosions detonated by the sorceress Sabrina Klevisic. Tall reddish grass covered part of the flatland, the rusting armor and bleached bones of the fallen nestled among it. Once the curse was activated, however, a ghastly mist engulfed a section of the battlefield. Within it stretched a world seemingly pulled from nightmare, a world in which ghosts of the fallen endlessly reenacted the battle that had claimed their lives. Town of Vergen. This town in the north of Aedirn was founded by dwarves who established mines in the surrounding hills. As was their custom, they carved their homes and public edifices directly into rock formations, granting Vergen a unique architectural style. The town was an important trade center, one of the roads through it leading into the country's interior. Humans had also attempted to settle in the area, but the disturbances that plagued the Pontar Valley left most of their villages burned and in ruins. Nevertheless, when we arrived in Vergen, it was teeming with humans in addition to its mainly dwarven population. Saskia's peasant rebels and a group of Aedirnian nobles had made camp there and promptly began to measure each other with menacing glares. Meanwhile, all the groups that had assembled in the area were mistrustful of Iorveth's Koyatal, who strove to keep themselves with unmistakably elven aloofness. Truly, if not for Helselt's army making camp nearby, the whole rabble would have been at each other's throats in no time. We have some new characters here as well in the chapter 2. I didn't really look at all of them in the chapter 1 either, but I did look at most of them. Cecil Burdon. When we arrived in Vergen, we learned that the town's elder was named Cecil Burdon. This former dwarven miner was typical of his kin, realistic, substantive and possessed of a sober outlook. Vergen needed an administrator like that, so Burdon was, beyond all doubt, the right dwarf in the right place. And then the fellow who took us into the cozy room. Cecil's nephew, the young Skalen Burdon, had been taken in by the alderman after the lad's parents perished in one of the non-human massacres that occurred in Aedirn. As friendly, hard-working and efficient as his uncle, Skalen took it upon himself to act as Vergen's official representative in his uncle's absence, providing all newcomers to the town with any information and assistance they needed. Triss we know quite well already. I haven't read the journal yet. I think I might do that at some point, but Triss we are looking for. Maybe I'll look into that when we find her. Dandelion. It is always awkward to write about oneself, yet I cannot shirk this duty. In an effort to preempt any accusation of partiality, I shall set down the humblest of notes, relating only the best-known facts. Dandelion, in reality the Viscount de Letzenhave, though titles are important, is a certified troubadour, a lecturer at Oxenford University, a persona known among society as a charmer, poet, dandy, and unparalleled lover. Almost everyone north of Yaruka has heard of him, and those who have not are either boors or simpletons or both, as a result of which their opinions do not matter in the slightest. Dandelion played a significant part in the most important events of the era. He loved, fought, negotiated and acquired immense knowledge, even that of the forbidden variety. His works are testimony of the times, but it is moving poetic troves that have brought him true fame. The important thing in this story is that Dandelion was a friend to Geralt of Rivia, possibly his only true friend. He was Geralt's confidant, advisor, companion in misery, for it was impossible to experience good fortune in the Witcher's company. What Geralt did, Dandelion faithfully recounted, and one should not give credence to those who accuse this humble chronicle of confabulating. Discretion, a virtue I have always professed, obliges me to remain silent about the circumstances in which, through the person of Vernon Roche, I began working with the Temerian Intelligence Service. Suffice it to say that there comes a moment in everyone's life when, facing great events, they cannot remain indifferent. And so I could not stand aside as history took shape before my very eyes. My dedication to the cause brought me to Flotsam at a time. There, through an unfortunate incident involving twins at the local brothel, a town guard, a dog, a cat and an oil lamp, I would up on the scaffold in the town square, from which I barely escaped with my life. Obviously, when Geralt decided to continue his search in Vergen, located in borderlands soon to be engulfed by the flames of war, I chose to accompany him. For the Witcher could at times be naive as a child and knew as much about politics as a ghoul knows about cooking. Thus the chances were slim to none that bereft of my help he would manage to find new leads without getting embroiled in some trouble along the way. As his friend, I clearly could not allow that. And, thank you Dandelion for writing this whole journal we have here. While here, let's take a look at Zoltan as well. The dwarf Zoltan Chivay is a close friend of Geralt's and mine, met while we were sneaking through the forests and wilderness of Brugge and Sodden, when war raged all around and hooves of Nilfgaardian cavalry thundered on the high roads. Like many of his kin, he later fought at Brenna in the Mahagan Volunteer Detachment, a unit that contributed greatly to the victory, although this fact is sadly ignored by most chronicles. After the war he wanted to start a business and even thought about taking a wife, yet fate had things arranged a bit differently. Zoltan had proved his friendship to the Witcher many times, eagerly standing at his side in any moment of need, disproving those who claim that each and every dwarf is a spiteful, aggressive son of a bitch, that they do not care for human plight and that coexistence is impossible. I know many non-humans, and if anything stands in the way of coexistence, it is human ignorance, spite and ungratefulness. Oh, Dandelion, I agree, I totally agree. They say a dwarf would get himself hanged for a friend, but Zoltan was in my company on the scaffold for another reason. The local authorities had accused him of colluding with the Skoyatal, and that is usually enough to earn one the main role in entertainment like a morning execution. The charges that Zoltan had contacts with squirrels were not entirely baseless. Though he did not actively participate in military action, the dwarf knew the unit's leader, Yarpen, among others. It was not surprising, really, that having encountered the aforementioned human spite and ungratefulness at every step, Zoltan sympathized with the dwarven and elven freedom fighters. He was balanced in his views, however, and valued loyalty to old friends above all else. Zoltan went with us to Vergen and, with enthusiasm worthy of his military past, began training the local militia that would soon see its baptism of fire. Though it appeared they would have a hard time, Zoltan was ready to defend the cause he believed in, fighting at the side of elves and men. Philippa's description I read earlier, but perhaps there is something more here. At the time, Philippa Eilhart was staying in the town of Vergen as part of Saskia the Dragonslayer's inner circle. Her motives remained unclear, to say the least. The former court magician had never been known for her altruism. However, one cannot deny that without her help, Geralt would not have found his way through the magical mist. Indeed, Philippa rendered him an invaluable service at that time. King Helselt. I guess here's a good moment to check this out as well. The Witcher once said that in his life he had met thieves who resembled city councillors who were like begging louts, harlots who behaved like princesses, princesses who smelled like pregnant cows, and kings who looked like thieves. King Helselt did not look exactly like a thief, but, with all due respect, he was not far off. He owed this resemblance only partly to his bearded countenance, beady eyes and wandering, yet penetrating gaze. His annexation of Lormark, called Upper Aedirn by its natives, at the time when Aedirn was fighting off the Nilfgaardian horde at its southern border, was also considered a theft. The now dead King Demavend judged this deed severely and communicated this in court yet resonant words. Yet that was not the sole reason for King Henselt's reputation as an unpleasant person, much bolstered by the monarch's ambitions and quarrels with his neighbors, and by his ruthless policies towards non-humans, whom he persecuted with a passion, squandering his realm's strength and funds. The aging Helselt did not have a living heir, and the rumor was that he had found producing another son somewhat troublesome. Interesting. Henselt's virility may have lessened with age, but his ambition certainly had not. The king wanted to wage a war and reclaim Lormark, a province he had already given up once, no matter the cost. And he paid the ultimate price, and taking the rest of us down with it. Yarpen Zigrin, obviously Geralt's very good friend. Our friendship with Yarpen Zigrin stretched back a long time. It began during the famed hunt for the Golden Dragon, which not only was not caught but also beat up its hunters. Those events were later described in one of my ballads, and anyone interested in the story should read it. Okay. Zigrin, like most of his kin, is characterized not only by his love of gold but also by his sporty sense of humor, sober outlook, pragmatism and loyalty to his friends. Geralt mentioned that he later met Yarpen and his lads in his Majesty's secret service, the Majesty in question being Henselt of Cauldron, for whom they were escorting a secret cargo. Though their own situation was not cheerful at all, they nevertheless aided the Witcher, easily proving that a dwarf won't abandon a friend in need. Okay, I think that's enough reading a journal, and when I continue, I might go to the War Council right away and then look around town. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching this video where I leveled up, did some very little alchemy, and then read out the journal. I personally think this was very interesting, and I always liked the journal in the Witcher 1, even that I didn't read it aloud in the Let's Play. It was very well written out, and not like a typical quest log, if you will. Alright, but as said, that's it. And until next time, take care, bye bye.